problems today. So I don't know. Here we are. We are live. And so we're talking about Transformation Tuesday. And what I wanted to talk about today was divine timing. How funny that we would have glitches in getting started. So whoever it was that needed that last bio break before they tuned in, thank you. I'm glad we could line things up for you today. So I've been thinking about divine timing lately because sometimes we're doing all the things, we're checking all the boxes, we're taking all the steps, doing the healing, then making the calls, putting ourselves out there, and nothing seems to be moving. And our immediate reaction is, what am I doing wrong? Because it seems like we are always trying to find fault with ourselves. And it's just like, but what if nothing's wrong? What if part of what you're experiencing is just about timing? Like the timing for me to log in today. What an excellent example. So yeah, what if it's just part of timing? And so time lately feels like it has been strange. And I know we've been talking about this on and off. It's like not feeling like you're in the groove, not feeling like you're doing what you're supposed to, or time seems like it's going incredibly fast or incredibly slow. I know last week, everyone I talked to, it's like, what? It's Thursday? You mean tomorrow's Friday? It's like everyone last week zipped by. And I would like to say I don't have any accounting for what happened last week, but that's not true. But everybody was feeling it. And that's part of the whole mass consciousness that I talk about. Life's moving incredibly fast for things that we don't want, but yet on the things that we do want, the things we're working towards, our goals, and those things, those seem to take forever. Those seem to be just so incredibly slow. And that's what I mean about divine timing. So, divine timing is like the recognition that there are some pieces of the puzzle we're putting together, and they are just beyond what we can currently see. The things you can act and you can prepare, you can heal, you can make decisions, create opportunities, but you can't always determine when those pieces are always going to fall into place, when those pieces are ready to meet you, and being sure that you are always in a mode to receive those pieces when they are ready, when everything is coming for you, for your abundance, and what the universe is doing for you. Sometimes those pieces, they're about somebody else's readiness. They're about information that you just don't have yet. Sometimes some things need to come to an end before we can have a new beginning. Sometimes it's our own energy that although we feel we want something, we're not energetically aligned to receive it yet. So I talk about, being able to receive. That receiving is more important than giving when it comes to things like this. And sometimes the opportunity that you need in order to springboard, it just hasn't really occurred yet. Sometimes there's more healing or more learning that needs to occur. So it's like sequencing, or some kiddos that I work with, they talk about the order of operations. Is everything in the order that it needs to be in order to take place? So maybe things aren't delayed. Maybe they're happening in an order that you just can't see it yet. But I also don't want anybody to think that divine timing is passive. It's not sitting back and waiting for the abundance to fall in your head. It's looking at what things are in place and what things can you continue to look at, and then what can you anticipate. It means participating in your life and doing the things that you need to do in your life without really forcing the outcome into existence. That's what I feel the real divine timing. And I work with people and they're like, but I've done this and this and this and this and this and this, and why isn't it here? I've checked all the boxes. I've done all the things. I've taken all the lessons. I took all the courses. I took some of them 2 or 3 times, and it's still not here. And so that's when you look at the situation and you say, am I taking action or am I pushing? You know, when we were kids, there were ways that we could ask for things that we would receive them from our parental figures, and there were ways that we would ask, and that was forcing the decision, and it always met with it. It's kind of going back to some of those lessons. What are the things that you can ask for? How can you put your asks out there in a way of showing me a sign, showing me confirmation, letting me know where I need to go? You know, energetically, where am I? It's about having that aligned action. Pushing oftentimes feels like you're trying to conceive it, you're chasing it. You're tracking it down, you're chasing it. You've just put everything into making it happen, forcing that same door, obsessively checking for results, believing that something has to happen by a particular date. You know, we talk about Mother Nature and the seasons. Mother Nature does not read the same calendar that we do. Spring does not appear on March 22nd. The world does not magically become in full color in spring here. The universe is very much the same, you know? And also that thinking that, well, if I work harder, if I do more, it's going to happen faster. So divine timing doesn't remove your responsibility. It removes the illusion that you can control every piece. This is where we come back to that belief in our higher power and having that established, whether it's God, universe, source, spirit, creator of all that is, whatever your term is for your higher power. Being in alignment and having that backing allows you to know when things are coming, allows you to be in a better system, a better place to receive what is there for you so that you can have it all. But we just can't push, or as I would say with little children, beg. Begging doesn't get you what you need. Okay, so this was, you know, how do you know when it's the right time? There's not really a magical checklist, but instead there's things that you can notice. You can ask questions about the situation. Does this feel like fear? Or does this feel genuine? If it feels like fear, then this isn't in alignment. You can also ask, am I avoiding something that I need to do? This is where that procrastination comes in. I'm a queen of procrastination. And when I catch myself procrastinating, it's like, oh, what is it that I'm avoiding that really needs my attention, that needs something from me? So my avoidance is procrastination. And that's when I ask, okay, what am I avoiding? How am I, what am I doing? And then have I taken the steps that are mine to take? What are the things that I need to do for this goal, for this ambitious, audacious dream? Have I done all the steps? Have I done my part? Am I doing parts that are other people's parts that really need to be completed by them? Am I disempowering them and their part of what is going on in my life? Am I trying to control somebody else? By disempowering them, you're controlling them. Am I forcing other people to do things that I think are in my highest and best good, and maybe they aren't? And if you're needing to force people, then it's just when you're working so hard at things to force them to happen, it just, most of the time, it's not time. And that's when you ask yourself, if I stop pushing this issue today, what would I naturally be drawn to do instead? So if I wasn't pushing so hard on this, if I sat back and I recalibrated, I tuned into myself and I listened to my intuition, sometimes that's the answer on where you need to put your next step. And sometimes part of the delay is, yeah, just because you have all the lessons doesn't mean that you can employ them. Just because you learned it doesn't mean you know how to use it. So have you had practice with this skill? Is it something that you need to practice? It's preparing. When you feel aligned with your work, are there times that people, you ask, why hasn't this happened? Why hasn't my relationship happened? Why hasn't my business grown? Why haven't I found my purpose? Is this healing? Why isn't healing moving faster? Sometimes it's not moving faster because there's lessons that are deeper within that healing for you to learn in order for things to grow. And as I speak this, I think of, okay, I'm thinking of a lot of the projects that I have going, and what are the parts or the steps that maybe aren't really ready to be birthed in this process? What needs to be done more? So you can also ask yourself, is there a belief? Is there a belief that I feel I need to release? Are there beliefs about thinking that things have to happen on a certain day? And that's where my rub happens with astrology. It's like, okay, well, it's the first of the month, you have to go do this. It's Lionsgate 8/8, you have to do this. It's full moon, you have to do this. It's new moon, you have to do that. And sometimes we really just we aren't fully prepared to take that next step. And we need to give ourselves that grace. It's like, oh, this isn't completely ready. And we also talk about the other side of that, of waiting for perfection, because perfection is it's the undoing for a lot of people. Some things do not have to be completely done to um, be ready, to release. If we wait for things to be perfect, they're never going to happen. So finding that balance in there. And a lot of times it does come down to a belief that we have about something. Something has to be done. Sometimes there's grief. Sometimes it is going through and processing the grief of what happened the last time we tried or what we know about things. So sometimes it's grief that needs to be processed in order to move forward, or there's a boundary. A lot of times when we want to do things that are new and different, it's a new boundary. It's crossing into new territory, and do we feel comfortable with it? Going back, I'll go back to my book. There were some rules that I felt were important for me to break to make this book mine, to make it stand out, to be the things that I wanted and how I want to be represented. And so, yeah, I broke some rules. I broke the boundaries with my publisher and saying, no, this is how important it is to me. Sometimes there's an old identity that gets in our way. It's like, but if I step out, I'm going to look different. I will be perceived different. Yes, I want different, but am I ready for that big transition? Sometimes your energy can also just be all tangled up. You're still finishing something out over here before you can move forward here. And so really knowing where your energy is and what are you aligned with, what feels good to you. These are the things that can bring in a bridge to doing the things you need to do. Sometimes the things we're trying hardest to manifest isn't the first thing that needs to be healed. So sometimes that we're pushing over here when we have a big gaping wound over here that has to be healed first. So doing those checks, do I have everything in order? When this goes through, how do I see myself, and what are the changes within me that I'm going to need to make to catch up with all of these beautiful changes and all this beautiful growth? So thinking about those things. Sometimes when people are pushing really, really hard against their timing, energetically, they've got that fear that there's not enough time. If I don't have it done by this day, it's not going to happen. There's always time. There's always abundance. I work on taking the word enough out of my vocabulary, because enough is a human concept, and what's enough today may not be enough tomorrow, and so it's constantly changing. It lasts for about 5 minutes. Some people feel they're going to miss the opportunity. If I don't get it today, it'll never come back around. If it's meant to be for you, it will come back. It will come back to you in spades when it is meant to be yours. So, yeah, and know that everything you do is worth your time, and it's worth your energy, and it's worth doing right. Yeah, we've heard that from our childhood. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Well, there is, and you can't skip the steps. Sometimes the steps aren't really obvious to us, and that's when we need to set back, recalibrate, and look at it energetically. Sometimes we need proof. Hey, I've done all these things, but is that getting me forward? You need that validation, and that validation needs to come from within yourself. Sometimes checking in with other people. You don't get too much into external validation, because sometimes we need a little bit of that, but not on everything we do. Yeah. And sometimes we just ask ourselves, what do I believe will happen if this doesn't happen right now? What's the worst thing that happens if this doesn't come through right here, right now, when I'm expecting it? What's the worst thing? This is how we kind of drill down and find out what our underlying beliefs are. This is how you uncover it. What will be the worst thing that happens if this doesn't happen right now? Think about that. I think a lot of people think that the fears underneath that is that I won't get another chance. I'm falling behind. I'm afraid everyone else is ahead of me. They're going to swoop it all up and there won't be anything left for me. Or I'm just wasting time here. Those are all some issues that we can do some downloads on, some theta healing downloads. So when we talk about some downloads that would be really helpful in us learning how to feel that we are in alignment, how to course shift to identifying alignment and being able to follow through with the alignment as it presents itself. So let's do the downloads that I know what it feels like to trust my timing. I know what it feels like to move forward without forcing. I know the difference between intuition and impatience. That feels juicy. Slowing down does not mean failing. I know how to recognize the steps that belong to me. I know how to release the responsibility of other pieces to other people. This would be the obligation to do it all myself. This would be the obligation to force things to happen. This would be the obligation to always be right. And this would be removing the obligation to always know the next step. Because sometimes, and let's remove the discomfort of unknowing. Because sometimes we have to go into that unknown area so that we can learn and we can grow. And when we learn and we grow, then things come to us. So being able to trust ourselves when that next step isn't visible, but to trust ourselves that we will know when the next step is here, and that it's safe to allow things to unfold in their own timing. And let's remove that fear of missing out. Okay. Yeah. No more FOMO. Okay. It just doesn't need to be present in your life. If you would like those downloads, just say yes out loud. If you're catching us in the replay, say yes. Do hashtag replay and then yes in the comments for me so we know that you're getting the work. And when you say yes out loud, that allows you to receive the theta healing work. And just think about these things. Think about how sometimes we are our own worst enemy. We have these great big thoughts and ideas, and that we have to be right about it. Sometimes we're not right. And so that's where we allow ourselves that grace and that freedom to reinvent the wheel, to go back and re-examine our steps, to forgive ourselves for not seeing it in the first time through, that if we missed a step. Okay, if you'd like that work, just say yes out loud. That obligation to be right, that obligation to know the steps the first time through. Sometimes we have to repeat things, and that's okay. It's learning. It's learning, and we can remove that imaginary clock that we're racing against. So time moving so fast. We talk about how quickly time's moving, and maybe that makes us feel like we need to move faster. I encourage you to think about it. Is it that mass conscious energy? Is it your own energy? Is it what you need to be feeling? The calendar can move quickly without you having to rush and catch up with it. So when you feel yourself being rushed, um, sit back and take a look at it and ask: is this me needing to rush? Or is this the energy around me that is so rushed, and it's not my energy. So we've been talking about energy and what we need to do. Shuffling the angel cards here. Let's draw one out for today. Okay, this is the angel of release. You can see her. Here she is. The angel of release. My life is perfect here and now. Our greatest release is to free ourselves from attachments of the past and concerns with the future to be able to live in the present moment. When we do this, we concentrate our energies and we don't lose vitality by criticizing, comparing, and judging. The quality of release frees us from guilt, which is a greater waste of energy. Release brings freedom from attachment to possessions or fear of loss. Now, yeah, angels never lie. So yeah, let's do another healing. Let's remove what prevents us from releasing that no longer serves us, as well as let's also allow ourselves to feel into that whole divine timing. Let's remove anything that blocks us from understanding our divine timing, and let's remove anything that is forcing our timing, that makes us feel out of sync. So let's remove that. If you'd like that, just say yes out loud. I was having a conversation with my friend Josh this morning, and we were talking about the whole resistance. And sometimes we really resist our change as much as we're begging for change, but yet we resist it, or things that we need to do and we know we need to do it, but that resistance comes in. And so think about maybe there's just plain a resistance to your divine timing, to accepting it and allowing it to be a part of who you are. So If you're not sure what I'm talking about with this whole divine timing, feel free to book an appointment with me. You can book a discovery call and just chat about it. If you're feeling like you're just bumping into an energetic block at every turn, that's kind of one of my specialties there with the energetic readings I do. We'll take a look at each and every one of those chakras and see where those biggest blocks are so that you can really have a blueprint or a game plan where to focus your energy. What part of your energy really needs attention before you can move forward. This is going to be really, really important to do that. So, yeah, I'm going to part with, ask yourself, am I being asked to take action, or am I trying to force an outcome? Think about that. Just think about that. The Chronic Health Collective, we are kind of pausing right now. We're going to be showing some reruns and honoring Minna Wong, who we lost just a month ago. So if you'd like to catch up with some of those episodes, continue to watch the Chronic Health Collective at 7 o'clock Central Time on E360 TV. And it looks like I don't have a whole lot on my schedule for August, but I am feeling that energy to harvest. I've got a few things going in the kitchen, picking the tomatoes, deciding how we're going to utilize those, working on some apple mint jelly, and doing the things as our seasons are transitioning. We still got some really hot summer like days, but I do feel this harvest, and so what are you harvesting? What are you bringing in? What is coming in energetically for you to take ownership of and to harvest at this time? Where are you going with this energy? So look forward to seeing everybody again next week on Transformation Tuesday. We go live every Tuesday around 11:30 Central Time. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn sometimes, definitely some Instagram sometimes when we get everything to cooperate with us. If there is something that you would like me to talk about, you'd like me to address, please drop me a message, get a hold of me, let me know what's going on. I'm thinking about just doing some angel reads. If everybody would like to, pop on, give me your questions, and we can just draw an angel card. Maybe rather than me telling you the woes of what I think is going on in the world, we can do some angel card reads. So yeah, let me know how you think about that. I'm looking forward to doing that because we do love the angels. So thank you and take care until next week. We'll see you then.